I really enjoyed my time in Zagreb, and I think I want to come back again later. And it's so nice to see so many people here in this space. So, actually the name is Juho Vepsäläinen. Yeah, so I've been doing web development like 20 years or so. It was 1995, two important things happened. The first thing was that Finland won the ice hockey world championships. So we beat Sweden in the finals. Yeah. And now there is discussion about moving time in Europe because we don't like that we have winter time and summer time. And they asked Finnish people which time will be the best, and they said May 1995. So, yeah, but it's great now we get single time and stuff. Second thing that happened, we got the internet in the school, and that meant I go to websites. So how did it go in 1995? Well, let's see. First, let's write some HTML. Something happens, and we make some money. Actually, it should be like, yeah, this is what happens. Anyway, it's like smiley faces with money tongue. Anyway, the first thing that happens is that you do a site, you put this GIF under construction, and then you make it black because black is cool. I like metal, so. And if you remember this, you're old. It's my homepage. And yeah, it's best viewed with, yeah, remember that? Or this guy here, yeah. And it's actually online. It was very fast for me to do this. Anyway, what's missing from the site? I forgot a couple of things. I didn't put visitor counter. In 1995, in those times, every site had one. There was no web ring. Again, one of those 90s techniques. Not enough chips. I didn't have marquee. I mean, the zzz and the blink. And I didn't capture feedback using GGIBN. I don't host it on GeoCities. Actually, I mean, it's really a shame that it went down because we lost so big chunk of internet history. No CSS, it just works. And no JavaScript, because I mean it doesn't exist yet. Brandon is still figuring it out. And no Ajax later. And the stack, just HTML. So you see, it's like just HTML, very simple stack. And yeah, let's go 20 years forward. What happens now? Let's do a website. So how do I develop sites? This year. Okay, I go to Twitter. I find something there. I set up a project. I install that thing. I wait for a while. Something happens, and now I make some profit or something. I'll give you an example of what I did. I did my first conference this year, React Finland, about 300 people, so it's more than this. So what did we use? HJS and React for templating, because I mean, if you do a React conference, you're supposed to use React for the site. I used Webpack for bundling because I know something about Webpack. GraphQL for content. So this is where my friend told me you're over engineering, you're doing too much because you're using GraphQL. But anyway, I did GraphQL. I host content on GitHub. I use Netlify for hosting the site. Then I have my own little solution that puts all this together. So it's tiny wrapper for Webpack and React Router, these kind of things. And the nice thing is you don't need JavaScript to run the site. So it's static HTML in the end. But the nice thing is that I implemented progressive enhancement in such a way that I can tell that this element is interactive. So it's going to write another script that gets loaded if needed. Architecture. So of course I have the site, but then I had this problem because I was organizing the conference with 5 other guys, and everyone is a developer. And of course this means that they want to develop stuff. Someone wanted to develop mobile app. And now if I have the content of the conference on the site, it's problematic for the mobile developer. So for that reason, I was forced to write an API. and this is where GraphQL comes in. So I wrote API between my content and the site and the mobile app. In the end, because now I'm doing second conference, I'm doing GraphQL Finland. So we figured out we can simplify a little bit. So let's push content and API to the same repo. So now we have multiple sites and multiple apps and stuff using the same API. And this actually means that I use GitHub as my content management system. So I make a change in GitHub, and then the change is going to propagate to the site. So it tells, I make a change. There's a hook, webhook, that tells my site, go generate yourself. And then I get the content on the web. And you can even see the API on the web, do queries and stuff. In practice, it's quite simple for me, because I use Netlify, and someone makes a pull request, and I get the site against that. I can check out the changes. It even tracks. It generates a site per commit. So I make a commit. I can go past. I can go in the past, and I can see what the site looked like in the past. Because I have the API, then I just do the data model. I manipulate the model to fit my needs. And one thing is, because earlier I had like implicit schema, then I typed it out, and I noticed a couple of things. It just made the whole app better. And there's no CSS in JS yet. It's just us. Then it was around January. I did the design of the site. I'm not the best designer. So then I figured I should hire my friend that does more design. So what I did, I hired him for 2 days. And this video shows what happens when you sit next to a designer for 2 days. So it's 2 days condensed. So what we did first is that we did a long list of things, like these things need to happen. And then we did so-called mood board, or we captured like the design, what's Finland, what's Finnish. So this is the design phase. And he didn't know that red is not a good color in Finland, so I had to correct him, as you see. Then we found waves, because of the lakes and stuff. So you see, we're actually using Figma for the design. So we're doing basic layout first. And you see he's not using a lot of Slack, so actually he's doing work all the time. And later on he told me that he has never been so productive. So yeah, now we have a concept, and then we have the site. So we had the stack ready, and now it's porting the concept to the site. So now we start redoing the site. So now you see my friend is coding. The nice thing is that because we're both technical, he could tell me that, yeah, there's this thing that needs to be fixed, or I need this thing. So I was able to work as he was doing something else, and I was fixing things, and he was doing things, and we were like more like pair programming, but progressing at the same time. Yeah, but basically we had content in a place, so we didn't have to worry much about content. It was more about the layout and design and navigation and making sure it works on mobile and desktop and the targets we had in mind. Yeah, we see it's coming along. But the site itself, it's like 5 pages. But that was the first day, so we got something done. But after second day, we had something that was ready to be published. It didn't like less, so we had to go to SAS. Actually, if I was able to decide now, I will probably do some CSS in JS with the style extraction. So I think that will be the close to the ideal for me. But yeah, now we're doing the mobile views and tablet. Yeah, an important thing, subscribe, get the emails. And yeah, sponsors, because you need to have sponsors. And it's almost done, so. And yeah, of course, footer, important. And then this is the phase where you spend most of the time just fine-tuning the details. Anyway, the conference was a great success, and the fun thing is that after we published the new site, we sold a lot. So we more than made back the investment we made on the site design. And I was super lazy with the new site. I took the old design from Graphical Finland and changed some colors. So, and yeah, it's the lazy way to do it. But anyway, here's the new site. Yeah. So, I think I still have some material left. Let's see. Chip. Present. So what's missing? I didn't do inline editing. I got this idea because I have GraphQL API. I could write a browser plugin so that, let's say I have some content section, and I write a browser plugin so that I can like double click or something, and I can start editing the content, and I will commit the content to my API, which will build the site, and then it will have updates. So it's more like a conceptual idea, but I could do admin interface on top of what I already have. It means I will have to implement mutations on the API, but it's not much work in the end. It's not like it's English, because developers speak English, so I did just an English site. And yeah, I didn't port it to Webpack 4 yet. I had some issues, so it's still in 3. What I would like to do is a style guide, because now we're starting to have multiple conferences, so it will be valuable to have the shared components in one place, so I could reuse a bit more instead of duplicating. And it's not PWA, so, but yeah, I don't know if I will need this, because we have the separate mobile app. And it will be fun to serve more data, like, because I know that some speaker is from some place, like Berlin, Germany. I could geocode, I could attach a location, and I could do a map. I could show that here our speakers are coming from these places on the map. And yeah, I could do something nicer with prop types. Now it's complicated. But just to give some ideas, static sites, generally atomic, it's what it is. There's no like side effects or anything. It just exists, simple to host. It's quite difficult to attack, because now you have the static server, which you have to crack. And it's friendly for developers, because we like to write code and stuff. But if you have CMS, then it's dynamic, which is a good thing sometimes. It's more complicated to host. And now we have large attack surface, we have admin interface and stuff you can attack. But it's user-friendly, so you can make it so that it's normal for a normal user that's editing the content. It can be very nice. There's something in between. We call it Jamstack. So I think there's some convergence. So we get some ideas from both sides. So we get nice user interfaces. We get easy updates. We get authentication databases and stuff. Anyway, what does this look like in like 2031? What's coming? So how do I do this in 2031? Yeah, let's tell the thing, yeah, do a site for me. And something happens, and then there's the profit emoji. This doesn't work. I think this is going to happen. So we see that we see both needs at rest. So both users and developers are going to be happy. So now we're starting to see new tools that bridge this gap. Maybe we get some artificial intelligence stuff. Maybe we get blockchain, because it's 2018, you have to mention blockchain. We get machine learning, it's another of those things. And mind reading. I mean, if you could read a design from your mind, that would be great. And this nice future where a family goes and sits together. Yeah, so just to conclude, I think it's still like 20 years later, not that much changed. Some things changed, but not that much. But the nice thing is that we're getting better and better at tooling. And the CMS static site split, I think it's just going to disappear at some point. And the thing is, you can do more dynamic things on top of static sites than you think. And for me, it's just realizing that separating the content from a site, that's a powerful step. As you do that, you don't want to go back. So I would like to announce one thing at the end. There's going to be ReasonConf in Vienna. I mean, they're not selling tickets yet, but it's going to be cool if you want to know something about ReasonML. So actually, the design is by my friend that did the React Finland site. But it's going to be cool, 3 days in Vienna to learn Reason. But that's it for me this time. Thanks for your time.
We have time for questions. Who has a question? Please put your hand in the air. I'll come find you. Surely someone has a question. I'll start with one.
Yeah.
Do you foresee other CMSs starting to do things like use their repository as the CMS backend? Because that, for me, is a great idea. So do you see other like mainstream CMSs starting to do something like that?
So I think the current trend is that we start speaking about headless CMS systems. So that the CMS is actually just the API, and I mean I don't see why not, because I think it's great to have Git as your CMS because you get history and a lot of things you will expect from a CMS without having to actually implement.
Sounds good to me. One less thing to code.
Yeah.
Question here in the back.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the talk.
Thanks.
I haven't seen these GIFs in years, so thank you for that.
Yeah,
I like your idea of having or using GitHub as a CMS, but I'm having a difficulty to find an easy way to handle my static files, images and documents, while I'm writing my content through the GitHub. So how do you handle static files, images resizing, etc.?
So I mean, now we just, because we don't have that much media, we just put everything to GitHub. So every image is just assets folder, then we point through a path. But I think the nice thing is that we could do some kind of validation, and the nice thing is because this all is behind an API, it means that let's say I have SVG image, and for some platforms maybe I want PNG. Maybe I don't want to give the SVG, I can give PNG, or I can do source sets. I can actually push a lot of logic to the backend, so it can do lots of operations that would be otherwise would be really hard, or I would need external service. There's also this Git large file extension or something like that that makes it easier to host binary content on Git. So there are existing solutions to explore.
If you have something like diverse image sizes, for instance, you want to serve a really compact image to, for instance, a mobile site. So would you like pre-generate all those images and put them on GitHub, or? I
think I will push this logic to my server. So I mean, the first query will be slow because it will have to generate, but after that it's cached. So I think middleware will be the solution. So push the logic to server, have something simple in the Git, and let server do the rest.